Very good, guys. Welcome to game number 2 of the day. Don't really have a good name for what's going on. Sort of in lieu of a Zyori breakdown, I suppose. There was a breakdown scheduled for today, and if you didn't see the last breakdown, Support 101 with TDM Sender, get your little fanny over to YouTube and check it out. I don't want to say it was the best breakdown of all the 101s that I've done, the support, the jungle, the carry. The support one was okay. It wasn't the best. By no means was it a Jungle 101 with TDM Freak. It wasn't quite as good, but it was still very good. You know, it's just that kind of like, if I had to rank them like we do the HoNcast top 10 that I always seem to screw up. And anyhow, you can check that out. It's a good one. There was supposed to be a one down. I'm trying to set up a breakdown with one of the TT Esports players, and there were some scheduling issues. The big breakdown I'm excited about is we're going to be doing a kind of a manager-focused breakdown. Bring on some of the different team managers, talk about what team managers do, why they're important, especially since DreamHack was here and they actually their job not revolves around events, but that's a big part of it. So I think it's a position that a lot of people don't understand, that is really undervalued in esports in general, and I think it's going to be really, really cool. We're hoping to get Shinx on, and of course he is in Australia, so that makes scheduling that bad boy just difficult. I don't even want to fucking think about it. I need a secretary to deal with that shit. So that is some stuff that's coming up. So anyway, this is just kind of casual replay casting. These games, again, don't have any real meaning. They're just games that have been played. We are putting kind of a special focus on our Legion side. They're the team of the day, if you will. Of course, Freshpro, LezzQQ, iNsania, Haxxeren, and Swindlemelonzz. So I believe Monomaniac Esports, Swindlemelonzz team from DreamHack, is pretty much disbanded. Obviously, Black Fade has disbanded, as we're all pretty well aware of by now. And, you know, Black Fade did assure us that most of their players would be moving around, playing on other teams and doing stuff. They're not quitting the game. They're just not going to be participating on the same team anymore. So, there you go. That's kind of the moral of the story here. So LezzQQ and iNsania, of course, the two Black Fade members. I know LezzQQ is going to be joining the military at some point in the near future. So I don't know if he's looking for a team right now or just scrimming. And of course, Haxxeren, to reiterate again, he is still tagged up with Team HoN. He's still a part of Team HoN. There's been no official roster changes. Could possibly be a roster change in the future, but there are none as of yet. So don't read too much into Haxxeren scrimming with these guys. Just one of those things. I don't really have a great answer for you, but I can assure you, as of right now, he is a member of Team HoN. So let's take a look at what's going on here. The hidden ban, or the blind bans, that's what they're called. I feel like I'm just about to get the hiccups, but I haven't gotten them yet, so I'm getting that weird, like, bubbly feeling in my chest. Anyhow, the blind bans here. Ophelia Parasite coming out from Swindlemelonzz team. Interestingly enough as well, Freshpro actually drafting this game instead of Swindle, so rotating the drafters. On the Hellborn side, another mismatch of players, Panny, KheZu, Papa S, the Dark Lady from last game, CatLoMein, and Rape down there. AY Rape, of course. We've talked about that name quite a bit. Probably refer to him as the brown player. His name is Rape. I don't know how you pronounce it in Swedish. It's some sort of Swedish tobacco. I've been all over this. I've called out that name many a time. He doesn't want to change it. I'm trying to let it go as best I can, even though it's just, you know, I don't care what it means in Swedish. It's still just an offensive name. Whatever. Gonna let it go. Not gonna be that guy. Could be. Don't want to be. So anyhow, I'm still getting used to lockpicking. Of course, that's what casting today is all about. What's lockpicking all about? Getting Zyori a couple of lockpicking caster hours under his belt before I have to get real serious about it with upcoming events. And I kind of am curious. I still am not sure how to read into the blind bans. Silhouette and Pebbles with the same bans from Panny last game. The Legion side going the completely opposite side of the coin, banning the two scary junglers, I guess, Ophelia Parasite. Heroes that are locked: Pharaoh, Meraxis, Aluna, Devourer, Swiftblade, and Magmus. So this is one of these situations now where we see some throw picks mixed in there. Well, I guess Devourer and Swiftblade are those two kind of, interesting. Again, with this lock-picking theory crafting, the advantage goes to the team that doesn't have first pick. So if you have first lock pick, you also have last lock pick. It goes 1, 2, 2, 1. So, because your team controls 3 of those heroes, that team that has the last pick is forced to take one of those 3 possible crappy heroes, if you will. What's interesting about this draft is there's really only 2 kind of wildcard heroes. It's Devourer and Swiftblade. So it's going to be easy for both teams to say, all right, well, we're just going to pick the 4 top-tier heroes here: Magmus, Aluna, Meraxis, and Pharaoh. So I don't really know what to make of those locks. And the strange ones are coming from Freshpro, Devourer, and Swiftblade. So it makes me a little bit curious if either of those heroes are going to pick up or get picked up, or why he put those heroes in the pool, because I would imagine they're going to avoid picking them, hoping the opposition is going to be able to grab them. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what goes down here. As far as the open bans, after that, Electrician, Tundra, Tempest, Nymphora, Wretched Hag, and Polywog Priest. So, of course, to reiterate again, the difference between the hidden bans and the open bans. With those hidden bans, you get rid of those heroes that you want to make sure you want avoided in the locking stage. That's really the key there. So, if you really don't like Silhouette, or you really don't like Pebbles, or whoever you don't like, that's who you totally take out of the game regardless. These bans, of course, are mitigated by the heroes that are locked. So again, just for the sake of learning for all of us, as I'm learning as well, I'm going to try and keep repeating the way it works, kind of as best I can to get that spiel down, as inevitably for the next couple months, people are going to be tuning in those. My big worry with lockpicking, really my biggest concern, I think it has a lot of great qualities, is that it's too complicated for your average viewer. You have to keep in mind that the target demographic of most of the viewers here for HoNcast aren't very good players. And there's that core, 3-4K people that tune in pretty often. If there's a big match, like, I'm going to watch HoNcast tonight. There's like another 10,000 viewers that are that sort of hit or miss, just like, all right, I'll tune in for the finals. I'll only tune in on big matches. I only get to watch maybe once every couple of weeks. Those are the people I'm worried about, because those are the people that you don't want to scare away by overcomplicating things. But at the same time, for the people that do watch the stream every time it's up, you don't want to bore them with like, all right, let's explain how lockpicking works. So I'm trying to reiterate as much as possible when we're not on that big arena, when everyone's going to be bitching, man, Zyori's so stupid. He just keeps saying the same thing over and over. That's because there are people that are confused, and I don't want anybody to be confused. I want us all to be very well educated, happy, and know what's going on. I want to know what's going on. So, just that's why I'm being repetitive. Partially from my own learning processes, I need to figure out lockpicking, and hopefully that learning curve will be tended to in a very timely manner. That's part of the reason why I want to be casting and streaming more, just to try and thwart some of that. So anyhow, that's my speech. Over here, CatLoMein tagged up with a different CatLoMein buddy. CatLoMein and I are good friends. Why? Just pick a clan, pick a name, and stick with it, my brosif. Like, balls to the wall, that's cool. I don't know that that's the best name that you could have gone with, but just why keep switching things up? It makes my job so much more difficult. It really does. If there was a benefit for it, I'd be all down. But what are you? Anyhow, interesting picks coming out here. First pick is going to be Bubbles over on the Hellborn side. As you can see by the chat, diversity is strong with these ones. Panny and KheZu are going to be playing, or the first picking the same heroes as last time, the Dark Lady, Glacius combo. Over here on the Legion side, though, some interesting picks, and you have to wonder, is this in reaction to the Dark Lady that did so much damage to them in the last game? Puppet Master Accursed, a very interesting pickup here, a very interesting duo pickup. Both of them extraordinarily rare heroes. Obviously, Accursed much more so than Puppet Master here. So the great thing about Puppet Master, of course, he does have a good laning presence, but he serves as a very good counter to the traditional hard melee agility carries, namely Dark Lady, for a couple of reasons. One, Puppeteer's hold keeps him in place, so he kind of mitigates that escape mechanism that is charging strikes. Puppet Show keeping him silenced and locking him down. Very, very important. Also, turning Dark Lady on his team once he gets super farmed. Fantastic. Also, Voodoo Puppet, very, very good for that burst damage to try and burst down those scary heroes. All around, very well suited, and also he can kind of go toe-to-toe with some of those hard carries if he gets enough farm and if the game goes on long enough. So I can understand the Puppet Master pickup. Accursed, I don't know what to make of, because I don't know that I've ever seen Accursed picked up in a competitive game. Of course, used to be a very popular hero back in the day. He got Jigglypuff style double slap ×4, beat upside the head with the Nerf bat, and now he just is a big pile of doo-doo. The big change, of course, his ultimate used to be activatable through stuns, I believe, and also it would activate automatically. So unless you got bursted from like half to nothing, your ultimate would kick in. Now you have to activate it, and if you're blocked, you can just stun lock him. That's basically the counter to a curse now. You can just stun lock him. That's it. He used to be kind of immune to death. He used to have a cheat death for those World of Warcraft players out there. No longer does he have so. Luna going to get picked up. Always a solid pick. Great support. I think we're all pretty comfortable with Luna. The global presence, the amount of burst she can put out early on, the great laning presence, and the ability to transition into a semi-carry. All around, very, very solid. The Hellborn roster has finished up, though. They followed up the Dark Lady, Glacius picks with Meraxes, Magmus, and Torturer. So a very similar lineup to last game, of course, mixing in the Meraxes. But, you know, the Torturer Magmus, I have to wonder, are we going to see a Torturer Magmus lane? You know, looking like we could see that baby sitting on the Dark Lady, solo Meraxes in the Suicide or in the mid. And Torturer Magmus can be a very, very powerful lane. Of course, the two questions that come to mind, who's going to be the recipient of the farm, and are they going to be able to pick up those kills? Should be interesting. Support Torturer, always interesting to see. Not saying we will see it, but certainly a possibility. Last pick coming out is going to be Pharaoh. So just sort of as I predicted there, going for... I'm having trouble understanding Freshpro's mindset there. He kind of put those two throw picks in, the Devourer and the Swiftblade, but nothing came of it. There was no real way to say, all right, we're going to force you to pick these weird heroes. Why did he do that? Was it just because he didn't want to put any more powerful heroes in the pool? I'd be curious just to get inside the head of old Freshpro there, just to see what's going on. I don't know. I like I said, still trying to learn it as well. Just get some of those casting hours under me belt. So like I said last game, this is the reason why I love following Swindle's team as far as looking for scrims to cast, looking for replays to cast, because they tend to pick interesting heroes in scrims, and this is a point-in-case kind of game. Especially since Swindle is a little bit more of an old-school player. He still has the older style metagame stuck in his head. He's one of those guys, he's a very logical guy, I think is a good way to put it. You know, he sees Dark Lady, alright, well, what's a good counter to Dark Lady? Well, I've seen Puppet Master be a very solid carry to Dark Lady or a counter to Dark Lady in the past. Let's give that a try. And I really admire that mindset when it comes to just this game in general, that style of practicing, that way of drafting, everything about it. I really admire that. And I think the HoN scene would be a better place if more people followed in those footsteps, if that is not too bold of a statement to make. I think there's just not enough variety, and it's really good. You know, like this Hellborn side, you know, going Glacius, Dark Lady, first two picks. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you know, maybe they really want to win this scrim, but to me it's like, experiment a little bit. Let's see what this is all about. But at the same time, it's kind of good that they picked a more traditional roster so we can see how a traditional roster fares against this sort of less traditional roster a little bit. So let's take a look at the lanes. Freshpro is going to be the one playing that Accursed, and it looks like he's going to be laning with Haxxeren on that Puppet Master. So of course, the support Accursed up here in the top lane was hoping to see a carry Accursed. Rats. So of course Haxxeren going to be able to pick up a nice, good bit of farm here. Going to be able to farm relatively nicely. In the mid lane, interestingly enough, a Luna Pharaoh going up against this solo Meraxes here to 2v1. I think our Hellborn side desperately hoping for that 2-1-2 mashup. Swindle's team, I would guess, reading that hope and, well, not allowing them to fish their wish. But still interesting to see Pharaoh here in the mid lane paired up with a Luna. Very rare that you see Pharaoh in a dual lane in general, especially with a Luna, though it seems to be working very nicely. Swindle's going to be able to pick up a lot of early farm, and we could, well, we'll get to see what Pharaoh can do when he picks up said early farm. Down here in the bottom, we're going to see Bubbles facing off against what is now a solo Dark Lady, though it did start as a tri-lane. Again, one of these classic situations of, yeah, we have this great tri-lane, but it doesn't matter because Bubbles is such a good suicide laner. This tri-lane's a little bit wasted. We're going to see these two heroes here roam to the mid. CatLoMein on Torturer, and Big Papa S on that Glacius is going to come into the mid and try and make it rain up in her up in the top. You do see some problems, though. KheZu on that Magmus going up against a 2v1 lane. He is going to be struggling quite a bit. Magmus, not the best suicide lane hero, I have to say, especially against a Puppet Master who has all that disabled with Accursed up here. Don't forget that Accursed can put out a good bit of burst damage. You know, between levels 5 and 7, depending on how he opts the level, but with that Cauterized Fire Shield, he can put out a pretty significant amount of burst damage. At the very least, can finish off some of those kills if Puppet Master can do that initial burst damage with the crowd control. So I think KheZu going to be struggling quite a bit up here in the top lane, and obviously this sort of dual roaming support is failing a little bit. Panny's still sitting in the mid, but as of now, this roaming Torturer as well as the roaming Glacius are really yet to do anything. And you have to pardon me here. Sorry, still all mucusy. but they really haven't done anything. We've talked about this strategy quite a bit in the past in previous casts, and it's really risky. Having two roaming supports can work very, very well if they get off some successful ganks, but the problem is they just have no experience or gold farm, less than that of the time they spend in lane or the assist gold that they get from picking up early kills. 2.5 minutes in, still not so bad. I mean, we're still very early on, but they're both level 1, sitting at 69 static gold gain. That is scary. You know, that can very, very quickly turn into bad news bears, where you have these two heroes that are desperately underfarmed, desperately underleveled, and pretty much a free kill if they get caught in any sort of aggressive position. And that's sort of the position they're putting themselves in. For Glacius, that's not necessarily the end of the world here, but for Torturer, that's really, really scary. If you have one support that's sort of playing that role that doesn't have any experience or farm, you can get away with that, because that one support can be very, very useful as far as stacking in the jungle, babysitting a carry, moving around, setting up ganks. That you can get away with, but having two of them can be very, very painful, and especially a hero like Torturer, where all that potential that he has comes from his damage once he gets a little bit of that farm, not from you know, him being underleveled, doing some carry action. We do see Bloodlust coming out down here in the bottom lane, so just as I'm talking about this sort of double roaming support being a bit risky, they do secure the Bloodlust kill, and Glacius is able to survive. Of course, the Bloodlust gold going in favor of Glacius, so it is a step in the right direction and does revive some of my hope here in this Hellborn team, though I still think they are going to be in big trouble, partially because of that huge disparity in farm. We see already this Legion team 300 gold ahead, and they just conceded a Bloodlust kill. So what does that say to me? That they are vastly out-farming these lanes. It would seem that Dark Lady is really the only one farming in a reasonable manner. Up here in the top lane, Magmus in big trouble. He's going to be able to Steam Bath, does have a Lava Surge up, but you can see he's struggling ever so much, sitting 3-0 as far as script score is concerned, while Puppet Master is 25-13, so certainly a victory here for our Legion side, I think one could say. In the mid, same story, different chapter. Pharaoh sitting 23-8, of course, with that Luna Babysitter, who's 0-3 as far as creep score is concerned. Panny hanging in there because it is the mid lane, is able to get some experience, now sitting level 4, but only 5-3 creep score is really going to slow down this Meraxes. So that's two lanes that are really going in favor of our Legion side. Then down here in the bottom, we have Dark Lady, who is picking up a good bit of free farm, but the caveat is they're not shutting down Bubbles. Bubbles and Dark Lady are really going blow to blow here, at least on par, so that leaves two heroes for this Hellborn side that are doing virtually nothing. They are bringing very, very little to the table right now. Glacius picked up the Bloodlust gold, and that's about it. They're still not really in a good spot in this game. You know, Torturer just roaming around, sort of trying to figure out a good plan. Glacius now in the bottom lane, if anything, hurting Dark Lady more than helping, because Dark Lady was free farming before he was here. Bubbles isn't really too close to the lane. So seeing Glacius down here, Papa S, yeah, I guess he's scaring back Bubbles a little bit more, but we see LezzQQ still positioning himself very appropriately and still picking up a lot of XP and farm whenever available. So this is already off to a grim start for the Hellborn side. The one remaining hope is this brown Dark Lady picking up some solid farm. But again, this isn't even like Dark Lady is taking over. His farm is sort of on par for this game, still behind that of Puppet Master. And if you're thinking along the mindset that I was during the picking phase, that Puppet Master is going to serve as a bit of a counter to Dark Lady, especially in the mid game, you have to remember that Puppet Master is going to peak before Dark Lady. That level kind of 11 to 15 range, Puppet Master is going to be doing a lot of damage. He may start to get taken over by Dark Lady a little bit. Of course, all things equal, given equal farms, equal positioning, all that kind of stuff. True economist here. What is it? Ceteris Paribus. All things equal. In the mid lane here, we do see some engagement. Swindlemelonzz on this Pharaoh, maybe overstepping his bounds just a little bit, but perhaps not. A Luna going to come in, going to throw that stun down onto Glacius, and that's going to scare back Papa S. So you can sort of see the disparity here for this Hellborn side. Glacius so eager to port in. Pharaoh getting remotely aggressive. He's just going to port in, say, I got you, buddy, even though they can't set up a kill. We see Torture coming in around the side. This is going to end up being a very bad fight for the Hellborn side. They're all split up. Beautiful mummy wall coming out from Swindlemelonzz, and down goes CatLoMein. Not the best choreographed fight right there from Panny's team. CatLoMein getting a bit hyper-aggressive, putting himself in a horrid position, and of course going to concede a kill. After mid up here in this top lane, I am a little bit surprised to see KheZu avoiding death, still sitting 0-0-0 on this Magmus, despite his farm being totally denied. We see him using that Steam Bath very appropriately. There's the Warded Rev. Are they going to be able to finish him off here? It looks like they are going to dive the tower. The shield going to come out onto Haxxeren, but there it is. That's that burst damage I was talking about. Freshpro going 2-2-0 with these early skill builds, and that does secure the kill onto KheZu. So now sitting 2-1, this Legion side really starting to pull ahead because of these favorable lanes. Again, the bottom lane is just a break even, so they need to climb back the disparity they're experiencing in these other two lanes. More action here in the mid lane. Pharaoh dangerously low, but as is Glacius and Meraxis. Also action down in the bottom lane. Talking about that break-even lane, we may see LezzQQ in a little bit of trouble. He's going to fall. CatLoMein actually going to be the one to pick up that kill on the Torturer. Going to give him a nice little gold pick-me-up again, all the while up in the top. Haxxeren does finish off that tier 1 tower in the top lane, so that's going to be a huge gold pick-me-up for Puppet Master there. Now at about 4:30 GPM to start things off in this game, only 7.5 minutes in. That Hellborn side needs to do something. I can't iterate this enough. They need to make an adjustment. What they're doing isn't working. They're losing the laning phase from their perspective. They're like, yeah, it's not so good, but we got a Dark Lady. Yeah, but they got a fucking Puppet Master who is way out farming him. So it's one of these situations where they need to really evaluate. They need to look at Puppet Master and go, all right, 8 minutes in, Steam Boots, Whispering Helm. This is pretty scary. What does Dark Lady have? Red Boots and a Life Tube. Of course, he does have some in the bank, but look it up here. This is that burst damage I'm talking about. Puppet Master dropping Magmus dangerously low. He is going to pop out, does have a Lava Surge. Is KheZu going to be able to survive this? He might be able to, but it is going to be tough. Looks like a Cursed is going to cut him off. All he needs is one Cauterize, and it will be a kill. Pharaoh going to come in. Actually going to juke the wrong way. Beautifully played by KheZu right there. Going to juke uphill. Unfortunately, just not enough. He is going to get taken out by iNsania thanks to that power throw. So very, very well done. More action in the mid lane, though. We are going to see Panny now in a little bit of trouble. Does activate that ultimate. His strings are going to be pulled, however. The stun from Torture are going to come out to try and buy his good buddy a little bit of time. The ultimate is now off. It's officially exploded. There's Wrath of the Pharaoh on the Torturer. Down goes Panny, and it looks like CatLoMein will be short to follow. The level 3 Torturer can't do a hell of a lot. This game taking a turn for the worse now. The momentum swing way in favor of the Legion side. Both Haxxeren and Swindle farming within acceptable parameters, starting to take over this game a little bit now. 5-2, so looking very, very nice indeed. Just glancing at the creep scores, a huge difference here. Pharaoh, or Dark Lady, Puppet Master, you know, kind of even hovering around 50, but everyone else, it's looking like, wow, yeah, I can see where that disparity's coming from. A completely different game from what we saw last time. This kind of goes back to my point as well earlier on of, you know, scrims you need to experiment, and this is why I sort of faulted that. All right, Glacius, Dark Lady first picks. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but come on, guys, we're scrimming. Let's experiment a little bit. And if you stay stagnant in scrims, you know, the surprise factor from some of these other heroes certainly will, you know, catch you off guard a little bit. I think it's fair to say. A Curse definitely been having a strong presence in this game with that Puppet Master, but it's one of these situations where I don't think it's necessarily a Curse playing particularly well, but them having an easy time at the top. I don't understand the mindset of the solo Magmus up in the top. Why did they commit to the trial lane? If they'd put Torturer Magmus up in the top as I'd originally suggested, that could have been a totally different lane, where instead of having two lanes that are completely shut down, this Hellborn side could have just sacrificed their mid lane, say, alright, Meraxis, you can kind of suicide here, but we're going to have a break-even top lane, and we're going to leave Glacius Dark Lady in the bottom to make sure Dark Lady gets ultimate free farm instead of doing this funky double support roaming strategy. Which I think pretty clearly by now hasn't worked. If you look at Magmus and, or pardon me, Glacius and Torturer, 2-1, 0-2 creep scores, 1-0, 1-2, and 1. It's just not enough. If you're dedicating that much to roaming, all of that lost experience in farming in lane, you need to make sure you set up those early kills, which they just weren't able to do. We see in the mid lane, Panny going to get taken out again. Down he goes. Swindlemelonzz with all that early farm, able to play man-up mode just a little bit here. The fight continuing. Glacius may find himself in a little bit of a sticky wicket. There's the kill field coming out from Bubbles. Down he's going to go. The hat trick coming out for Mr. Freshpro on that Accursed. Not even sure how that happened. Was that just Mega KS or RNG last hits coming in? But regardless, a 4-0-2 Accursed now, as we see Freshpro looking to be in great shape. Well played by LezzQQ to make that happen. Of course, that kill field is what secured the kill on the Glacius. The tier 1 tower in the mid lane did fall. Now further adding to that lead here of the Legion side. Freshpro going to get kicked, I guess, here for some of that KS action. Oh, iNsania, you funny dog. Good bit of pressure actually going to come out onto this tier 2 tower in the mid lane as well, and it is well below half health. They may just commit to trying to finish this off here. Accursed going to be able to put that shield onto Pharaoh. He's going to play man-up mode. Panny going to get taken out yet again. Back-to-back deaths for that meaty Meraxis. Now sitting 0-3-0. Very unfortunate for Meraxis indeed. You see how much damage that Tormented Soul does to Glacius there, just sort of speaking to the power of Pharaoh relative to that of Glacius. level 8 versus level 4, all that good stuff, important things to point out. Puppet Master still in great shape here. He is very, very close to that early Assassin Shroud, only 12 minutes in. Already has the Whispering Helm and just needs about 600 gold more, or 500 gold more, if my math is correct. And he's going to be able to pick up that Assassin Shroud. That's going to turn him from, yeah, that annoying Puppet Master that does some damage to, god damn, that guy puts out a lot of magic damage. That's really the avenue that he's taking here. So I think once that core item comes out, it's going to be super scary indeed. Hellborn side here, just looking at the disparity in inventories also speaks to the way this game is going. 3 of them still on red boots. They're solo mid now, teetering barely with the suckle of Mother Nature's farm here. 140 GPM on their solo mid Meraxes. Unfortunately, Panny has not been having a very good game. Luna Pharaoh was a little skeptical. You know, like I said, it's not too often we see Pharaoh in a dual lane, but damn. I mean, damn, goddamn, he's doing well. We see him engaging onto Glacius here, going straight man mode. A 1v3 scenario. He does have a haste rune on. Unfortunately, not going to juke the right way. Glacius with only 12 hit points. But where's that global presence? Aluna, red power throw. Where you at, girl? Oh, Aluna's only level 5. How unfortunate. He's waiting for that Tormented Soul. He's got another 10 seconds or so. Glacius isn't going to make it back to the well. Is he going to get sniped out? Is he going to even go for it? Oh, maybe. Maybe. Tormented Soul. There it is. There it is. Oh, is this going to be some connection? Are we going to have the biggest snipe of the century? Oh, there it is. Swindlemelonzz, you dog, making it rain on Papa S. Beautifully done by Swindle right there, timing that absolutely perfectly. Up in the top lane, Haxxeren going to slow down that Assassin Shroud a little. Actually, he has enough gold for the Assassin Shroud, so never mind, but he is going to get taken out. Panny actually be able to pick that kill. Of course, the assist going in favor of Rape as well as CatLoMein. Dark Lady going to further that farm, but all the while, Swindlemelonzz team staying nice and active about the map. They are going to push the tier 1 tower down here in the bottom lane. Absolutely well done. This is one thing that Fnatic Raid Call does unbelievably well. Anytime that you see an era getting ganked solo or solo farming, the rest of their team is grouped up, ready to pressure that tower. If you gank one person on a Fnatic Raid Call, you can guarantee their team is going to be grouped up, looking for an opportunity to push a tower or take that number advantage somewhere else. And that's exactly what Swindlemelonzz team is doing right here. We see this engage commencing though. Freshpro going to be able to pick up the kill onto Papa S. Unfortunately, Glacius getting picked on a little bit here. Panny trying to juke into the trees. He has nowhere to go. The ultimate's off. The Kelp Field going to stun him. He is going to be able to make it through, though. What is that path right there? Did he cut down a tree? I had no idea he was going to be able to make it out. I thought he was going to be a goner, so well played by Panny to survive that. Unfortunately, though, Papa S not so lucky. This Glacius now 1-3-0, so still hasn't died too many times, but really starting to hurt. We see up here in the top lane, Rape going to get taken out by Haxxeren. Now 0-1-2 for this Dark Lady. Still in good shape, sitting around 350 GPM, but a nice catch from Haxxeren, who does have that Assassin Shroud and 700 more gold in the bank. So this Puppet Master is just hella farm. Now about 15 minutes in, Dark Lady still yet to finish that Rune Cleaver, about 600 gold off, but unfortunately just not quite there. See some more engagement commencing, though, and the Legion team clearly coming out ahead. A twofer to start things off, trading that Pharaoh for Glacius. Well, I guess Dark Lady was already dead, so a 1-for-1, pardon me. I should pay a little more attention to the screen. 2 seconds, so I'm going to connect with Meraxes, though. There's the power throw. One more hit ought to do it. And Bubble's going to shell surf on in. Panny going to throw out that Quake stun, unfortunately. Not going to do anything in the way of keeping him alive. LezzQQ going to pick up a double tap on that Bubbles. And he's been playing a hell of a game so far. I don't think his score really reflects it, sitting 2-2-2, but he is still in damn good shape. Taking a look at this GPM chart, you know, we were talking about Dark Lady hanging in there, you know, still good shape for the team, but it's just not enough. They didn't do anything to check this Puppet Master. It goes back to the initial laning phase of saying, hey, Magnus, you can handle Puppet Master a curse, right? No problems. You're good, right? You don't suck. You're not a pub. All right, cool. Go for it, KheZu. That just didn't work out. Not only did he concede a couple of deaths, but Puppet Master practically free farmed. He's been free farming for most of this game, and Puppet Master is a snowball hero. Haxxeren tends to be kind of a snowball player. He's one of those players that picks up a little bit of early momentum. He's going to capitalize, and that's what makes him so deadly on heroes like Puppet Master, Pyromancer, Pebbles, Zephyr, all those heroes he plays notably well. Silhouette as well, great example. So the fact that they've been letting him get so out of control, I think, is bad news bears for the Hellborn side. Though, never too eager to count out with the Dark Lady, especially one who's just finished Rune Cleaver, 16 minutes in for timely. Again, Dark Lady's farm is very strong, just nothing compared to this Puppet Master, who already has another 1,700 in the back, critting for 291. That was without Assassin Shroud. So, you know, Haxxeren is got to be pretty happy about his position here in this game. Take a look at hero damage breakdown. Always interesting statistics to look at here. And a little bit surprised that CatLoMein is actually the one doing maximum damage for the Hellborn team. And I think that's the statistic that jumps out at me. He's league ahead of his teammates, on par with his opponents, and he is but a level 7 support sitting with Steam Boots on Torture. I mean, it's not like he's the farm hero. He should not be leading the way in hero damage right now. Let's put it that way. He is just not very farm. So a bit of slashing for me to see that as the case. In the mid lane, sorry for missing that kill. I'm getting some stuttery. Let's pause the replay first. I'm getting some stuttery frames. Give me a second to tab out and just play around a little bit. Toggle mutes on the mic. You never know. You never know. What are you gonna do? Let's resume here. And I'm still a little glitchy, but yeah, hopefully it clears up here. Sorry about that. So anyhow, yeah, back into the game. Hugely, I mean, 15-4. There are so many statistics you can look at this game and be like, yep. Swindlemelonzz team is in damn good shape. But, you know, always a game of throws, always a lot of possibilities. And it's actually fairly action-packed. 19 kills in 18 minutes. I can't complain too much. We've seen Swindlemelonzz with some pretty man-up Pharaoh ultis here. Pardon me, so can't really complain a hell of a lot. Looks like Pharaoh does have a Neophyte's book. I would guess going to be working towards a puzzle box. That would be my best guess, though. I cannot say for sure. Mr. Swindlemelonzz does tend to do some interesting things with items. We are going to see some engagement onto a curse. Of course, going to be able to activate that ultimate. One of the things that makes him so strong. But uh-oh, Puppet Master going to get caught by Warrior Rev. This could be bad news, Bears. He's going to get caught. Freshpro did pick up that kill onto CatLoMein. So it is a 2-for-1 thus far. Is Haxxeren going to be able to survive this? Look at that, standing his ground with all that lifesteal. He is going to be able to survive. Rape going to try and pour it out on that Dark Lady. He's not going to be able to make it in time, or is he? Yes, he is going to be able to make it back to the base. Unfortunately, pulling his strings does not keep him locked in place. Is there a Wrath of Pharaoh up there? Is not, but KheZu may still find himself in a bit of a sticky wicket. Nope, not going to happen. So when it's all said and done, I believe that was a 1-for-3 exchange. Yet again, Freshpro picking up a double tap. Haxxeren, of course, picking up that kill onto Papa and also surviving. So that fight really showing the power of Puppet Master across the spectrum, getting engaged on, but also how powerful he can be with this Whispering Helm item. The lifesteal as well as that +5 base armor helping so much to keep him alive. Unfortunately, iNsania is going to get caught out. Rape going to be the one to pick up that kill. Now we're going to see Pharaoh being the one in a bit of a sticky situation here. Beautiful stun from KheZu to start things off, and it looks like he's just going to get abandoned by a curse. Freshpro doing everything he can to try and keep him alive, but unfortunately just not enough. Puppet Master going to engage right there onto Torturer. A 591 crit coming out, practically one-shotting him at that low health. But at what cost? Haxxeren may very likely die. Uh-oh, Freshpro hanging around. Going to throw out some heals in the shield. Haxxeren may very well still die, but they are going to be able to pick up a kill or two. The Kelpfield coming in. Magnus in big trouble. He's going to be able to get that Steam Bath off. It is going to get turned around, though. LezzQQ going to fall. Magnus going to be able to survive, and it looks like Cursed may be in big trouble here. Does activate that ultimate, but is it going to be enough to keep him alive? The power throw coming in, actually doing a hell of a lot of damage here. We are going to see Meraxes trying to make it happen. A nice stun from Magnus. KheZu in that Steam Bath. Is Meraxes going to fall? It is going to be the 1-for-1. Freshpro, a dominating streak. Going to get ended by Papa S. Glacius actually going to be one to pick up that kill after that wild engage. Some nerd chills coming up, getting some nerd sweats going on here. We see Freshpro's dominating streak, paying a 550 gold bounty to Glacius. Got to be a nice pickup right there. And, oh, God. Lag. I know. I'm actually upgrading my computer this weekend, so you're going to have to bear with it for now. Gonna have to bear with it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, y'all. Anyhow, where we lost my train of thought as I glanced at chat. Hopefully that clears up some of the lag. Like, the problem is the audio drops come because my processor's capped out. It's not, I don't think it's ISP lag. It's honestly my processor's capped out. It doesn't have a big enough L3 cache. Oh, my AMD Phenom X4 II. It's a good processor. It's a steal. It's a bargain with that L3 cache. Just not quite big enough. Going with the big Sandy Bridge i7, I think it's the 3820. It's got a 10 L3 cache. Oh my God, it's going to be so nice. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. Anyhow, that aside, sorry. I think it's actually when I get excited, when the audio is that the microphone picks whatever. I'll do my best to not get excited. Gonna have to cast like this to prevent the audio drops from coming. Anyhow, jokes aside, let's get back to it. So some nice item pickups here that I want to talk about. Luna, look at you, Insania. Swindlemelonzz, this is why I love your team, because you guys use your brains. Picking up the Abyssal Skull. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love this item pickup, especially nice and early on. We're 20 minutes in, and Luna going Steam Boots, Power Supply, Magic Armor, and Abyssal Skull. First big core item is this hugely advantageous item for Puppet Master. Gonna buff that damage, but stacking that lifesteal makes Haxxeren so deadly. Of course, adding additional armor as well. Such a well-suited item for this game, especially when you know you're going up against a Dark Lady who's is farming very well, sitting around 400 GPM. So that is just such a smart item pickup. I just kind of can't get over it here. We do see a little bit more engagement coming in, and we shall see what happens. I'm sorry, glancing at chat yet again. I can't read and talk at the same time. Puppet Master also going Blessed Orb. I'm curious what he's going to do with that. Is this going to be a Null Stone? Is he just going to turn this into a Sheep Stick? Or is it going to be something like a Geometer's Bane? I really don't know what he's going to do. I'm going to guess that it'll be a Sheep Stick. That's really my best guess. Sheep Stick is a great... Oh, big misclick right there onto the Warlock. Ah, Haxxeren! That could have been a kill right there, my friend. Big, small plays coming out. Very unfortunate. But Sheepstick actually works as a pretty effective carry item on a hero like Puppet Master because it gives you so many raw stats and it gives you so much intellect. It's kind of like just adding that raw damage from Wingbow onto an agility hero. Really does synergize nicely. And of course, that additional CC is just invaluable. Well, not invaluable, but very valuable as well. So that's my best guess. Doesn't really look like a great Nullstone game. Oh, look at you. You are so cute. What is it? /FC? Look, that was adorable. League Legend. I get it. That's cute. That's adorable. Let's go for a /clear. There we go. Oh, man. Your efforts were thwarted in about 5 seconds of Zyori work. Keep it up, though, buddy. Keep it up. You're number one. Number one there. That's awesome. Anyhow, let's keep it flowing. Keep it flowing nice and easy. Hey, Insania's in chat. What up, good buddy? So good. Insania, thank you for getting Abyssal Skull. I love it. I love it. Big hearts. Big hearts going out to you. You know, there's a curse going for a push book as well. No, going to be a Geometer's Bane, so pardon me. Haxxeren going to grab the Geometer's Bane. You can kind of forget some of that theory crafting I was just saying. It's an interesting choice, but still a very good one. See some kill exchanges. Insania going to get taken out by Mr. Rape. Swindlemelonzz in some trouble. There's that tablet from a curse. And now we see Haxxeren going in, trying to do as much damage as possible. We're going to drop Rape in a matter of seconds. He's going to get caught by that Quake Stun. The ultimate from Meraxis just getting ticked away. He is not going to be able to survive this. Luna did pay the ultimate price, but a 1-for-4 exchange when it's all said and done. KheZu on that Magnus did survive. Does have Portal Key coming up in just about a second here and is going to PK back to safety, but I don't know he's going to be able to hold off this incoming push. 2 heroes dead for another 35 seconds or so. Torture is going to pop back up. Glacius is already here with this Puppet Master critting for so much. It is ridiculous. Let's see if he uses this Geometer's Bane for pushing power. I mean, Geometer's Bane is definitely a great item, and it does synergize nicely with Puppet Master. That additional agility, yeah, it does help. And in this situation, the added agility is going to give him some extra armor. Again, further playing that role as an effective counter to Dark Lady. I think a curse is shown in this game as well, that he can be pretty effective in this metagame. You know, why he's annoying in Mid-Wars? Same reason he's annoying in our current competitive scene as well. We are going to see more engagement here. The Wrath of Pharaoh going to connect with Glacius, who undoubtedly is going to fall. A nice Magnus ulti going to come in. Unfortunately, not going to do enough damage. Haxxeren just terrassing through this Hellborn side. Going to be able to pick up that kill into CatLoMein. Rape also going to be able to finish off what's his name? Pharaoh right there, turning it around a little bit, but I think this game is getting close to over, ladies and gentlemen. The top lane of Rax has fallen. And we see, well, not much Dark Lady can do about it. Unfortunately, that 400 GPM farm is pretty good, just too little too late, as we've said a few times. He does have a Blessed Orb and actually really close to being able to finish a Null Stone, which will be a really big item pickup, but I just don't know that it's going to be enough. A Shrunken Head also would be a huge item pickup here, and I would almost say a Shrunken Head over Nullstone, because there's enough single target on this Legion side that they can burn it and still allow Puppet Master to use those really deadly spells that counter Dark Lady so effectively. At least they could stop that crowd control if he gets the Shrunken Head. That would have been my choice, especially in a game like this where, you know, you need to be able to just survive long enough to get your Dark Lady's farm big enough that he can take over the game, recognizing that those windows of opportunity, the windows of tilt, if you will. I like the Shrunken Head pickup a little bit more, I do have to say. Meraxis with his portal key does, or pardon me, Magmus with his portal key is certainly powerful in that last fight. We did see a decent Magmus ulti, did a good bit of damage. But here, though, this is that problem we were talking about. Who's their big damage dealer? That's the issue with putting Torture as a support. Yes, Torturer can play support pretty well. Yes, he can be a good babysitter. Yes, he can do that sort of dual roaming support kind of style they were going with him and Glacius. But unfortunately, they lose Torture as a damage dealer. So now who's their big damage output? It certainly isn't Dark Lady right now. Dark Lady is nowhere near the point where he's just capitalizing on all that farm and going crazy with crazy damage output. He's just not strong enough. This isn't the point in the game where Dark Lady is really strong. We're getting there where maybe Dark Lady should be a little stronger. Sitting with 3.5k gold in the bank, might be able to make something happen. But they just don't have that huge damage dealer to carry them through that mid and early game. And that's part of the reason why we're seeing 27-12. 27-12, more than double the hero score here on the Legion side. And a big reason of that is they just have the damage output. Looking at that damage percentage, Pharaoh and Puppet Master, as well as Bubbles. I mean, earlier on, Bubbles was doing so much damage and still continuing to do so. He does have that portal key now, making him that powerful initiator, and also has the Arcana. So undoubtedly, LezzQQ going to be moving towards the good old Hellflower. So good shape. Puppet Master with another 3.6k gold in the bank. I mean, it just doesn't stop. He's farming at such a ridiculous rate. He can finish that Genjuro at any point. Now we are going to see Magmus get caught, and there's that crowd control we're talking about. He is going to be able to survive, though. You got to call that a blunder for the Legion team, I think. Not enough follow-up stun. Aluna not quite close enough there to catch the Emerald Lightning, unfortunately, which would have secured the kill onto Magmus. There's the Magmus ulti, though, going to come in and do a lot of damage to this Legion side, actually. Unfortunately, there just isn't the follow-up needed, kind of on a suicide mission there, it looks like. KheZu going in way before his team, and the follow-up not being there. Panny going to get taken out. Looks like CatLoMein shortly to follow. A 3-0 exchange. That engage really couldn't have been much worse. We see the GG well played coming out from Torturer, and this very well could be the end of the game. Dark Lady going to come in for kind of one last stand here. Not going to be able to do enough damage to secure a kill. The support from a curse just a bit too much. And that is it. The Hellborn team does tap out. So, of the scrims we've seen today, Swindle's team going 1-1. So let's go ahead and take a look at the post-game stats here. Let's see, replays. There you are. It's really annoying it doesn't show the replay stats right away. View stats, yes. Really annoying. I would like it to go to this screen right away every single time. But here you can see the final stats. Very convincing win for the Hellborn side. An 8-1 and 7 accursed. I'm not going to lie, that's what really caught my eye when I was downloading this replay and going, oh yeah, this is a pretty cool game. Yeah, I'm very into that. Swindle's team